When is art not art, and not art art? And what happens when you can't tell the difference? The answer? Art smitten. He could hear Smarty saying, "Don't overthink it, Marlowe. Just ask, what matters? What is important? What is a prayer but air?" Smarty was like the ether. He was lightness. He was bubbles. One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the lucky dime endureth. And at the bar were not only ghosts of the past, but the artists of the future, the outlandish, the inventive, the iconoclastic, the outrageous, the brilliant, the insightful, the talented. Many of these artists faced great personal peril. They took on oppression, authoritarianism, inhumanity, evil, stupidity, and global calamity. The future was no laughing matter, but they needed a party too. In fact, they were probably the whole reason Smarty was in the future in the first place. Marlowe looked around, took in the spectacle. Artists talking to artists, ideas colliding against ideas, dreams manifesting like twisty wisps of smoke. The new and the old, spinning, 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 and Marlowe smiled. He was so very, very, very happy to be here. Suddenly, the atmosphere changes, but it's not because of the wiki who entered jumping like coiled lightning bolts. Nor was it because of Scheherazade, or Bobby Zen, or Martine Carroll, looking spent after giving her all on stage at Heaven. Nor was it because of the gangster's girl, not because of the ambassador of the previous age and the ambassador of the age to come. The atmosphere changed because the great Lester Bester entered the room. A gracious circle spreads around Lester, who carries the same air of easy entitlement he portrayed on stage and screen. Even Fassbinder knows his movie requires Lester Bester as Sir Henry Wotton. Rita told Marlowe, Lester played every role as if turning the inner man into an outer garment. Never doubted a tattered tux, an exceptional soft shoe, and a lucky dime would carry the day, and he never passed a mirror at which he didn't stop to wink. Lester could be threadbare or broke, but he wouldn't bend a knee to anyone he didn't deem worthy, and who played a coward on the boards, but was always courageous in life. Said Oscar Wilde, the only way to get rid of a temptation is to yield to it. In Love Token Alley, yielding to temptation epitomized John D. Rock Jr., blowhard air of John D. Rock, the original trickle-downer of dimes. Lester played J.D. Jr. as a ne'er-do-well Brit dandy, and none thought it peculiar, considering J.D. Sr. was American. As has been alluded to in this narrative, the role became problematic off-stage. It cost a fortune to put on a show, and you had to take the money where you could get it. Some investors, tempted by the allure of showbiz, who bore J.D. Jr.'s insults and loaned him ever more money, thinking him connected, suspected they'd been bamboozled. When dumb Mike's goons met Lester backstage, he convinced them that J.D. Jr. they'd seen on stage was a parody of the real man, who he knew to have skipped town with as much of the proceeds as he could carry, and buried the rest. Good riddance. "Think I could act that prick?" asked Lester. "Sock him for me if you catch him." This plot from an old Maurice Chevalier movie served well. And Lester did it well. Lester had spent decades in Europe, often down to his last lucky dime. In London, he was a friend of Lord Boots and Lord Boodles, both drinkers of gin. If a party got dull, Lester Bester, court jester, rolled in a piano and earned his chop performing the Cat's Meat Man. "If I'd a 5-pound note," said the Cat's Meat Man, "I'd marry you tomorrow," said the Cat's Meat Man. She expressed her admiration of his admirable plan. She gave a 5-pound note to the Cat's Meat Man. A stage rolls forward, a rolling sheet of black smoke. Carved in the smoke, Mr. Boots. The smoke clears. Tati. Spark to fuse, and then the big bang bang. A sparkling firecracker. Feel the beat come up through the feet. Feel the heat up from the street. Feel the rage. Scheherazade, gray eyes, red mouth, tears visible through her web veil. She's awed by this legend. This is why she had come. This is why she was here, to see a master at close range. Now on stage, the Wiki, and they're jumping, and we're all jumping, and everybody goes bananas when little Ricky appears on stage with the Wiki. Hey mister, hey sister, knock a twister, rock a hurricane, in Tiki Town they're jumping 10 feet high. Enter Bob Hopeless, Larry Curl-Mo, and Smike. They are not jumping, but they are spinning. The Moony Moona man and his Moony Moona missus. All night long, kisses, kisses, kisses. And then the prophet Lepton, accompanied by snare drums and bass. My baby's a neutrino, got me spinning round. The party fills with bubbles. Bubbles are everywhere. There is a shout, 39 bubbles for Zigmar Polke. And then another shout, 39 bubbles for Art Smitten. And the party got crazier and crazier and crazier still, as it is wont to do. Oh, and then his heart beat pity-pat. There was the ballerina with the Audrey Hepburn face, who last party spit water in his face when Marlowe went to kiss her. Her hair now red like Rita's, but he knew that giggle. She rushed to kiss him, but again spit water in his face and spirited off laughing, and then flew back to give him a kiss and a lit sparkler and rushed off again to take the hand of Bobby Zen, who looked much like Marlowe all those years ago. Bitter but sweet, and as it must be. It was crazy. It was mad. And he could hear Art Smitten saying, "You don't have to make sense to make sense." And Marlowe thought, how would you say that in Latin?